I call Nikki Wagner.
Thank you very much, Mr Speaker. I too would like to support the Sullivan Birth Registration Bill at its third reading. As we've heard, it's a private bill supported by Labour MP Louisa Wall, and it is linked to her Marriage Definition of Marriage Amendment Act 2013, because before the passing of that bill, same-sex couples are able to marry and therefore will be able to apply jointly for adopted children. And if Rowan Sullivan's birth mother had been able to marry her long-term partner, Doreen Shields, this situation would never have arisen. Now, the purpose of the bill, as we've been discussing, will require the Registrar General of Birth, Deaths and Marriages in New Zealand to record the details of Rowan Sullivan's deceased mother on her post-adoptive birth registration entry. Now, the background to this bill is important because it sheds light on the rules that made the documentation of one's life and relationships difficult for a same-sex partnership before our legislative changes. So the background was that Rowan Helen Louise Sullivan was born on the 23rd of February 1993 in England to a same-sex couple, Diane Sullivan, a British citizen, and New Zealander Doreen Margaret Shields. Only Diane Sullivan's name, the birth parent, was recorded on Rowan Sullivan's birth certificate. In November 1999, the family moved to New Zealand, and Rowan and Diane Sullivan became permanent residents on family grounds. At that time, the law did not allow Diane and Doreen to marry or to jointly adopt Rowan. Diane Sullivan died in 2010, and Rowan was formally adopted by Doreen in January 2013. However, this required the removal of Diane Sullivan's name from Rowan's post-adoption birth record, something, of course, that Rowena did not want to do. Therefore, the purpose of this bill is to add Diane Sullivan's details to the record so that both Diane Sullivan and Doreen Shields' name can be included on Rowan Sullivan's New Zealand post-adoption birth certificate, that both Rowan's parents can be acknowledged. I'm very pleased that Parliament was able to deal with this issue, and I note that Chris Okenvile was talking about it being a complex issue. But I'm very pleased that it could deal with it, because I understand completely Rowan would want to have both her parents listed on her birth certificate. The bill does not create a precedent for other individuals seeking to change their registered birth record, because since 2005, New Zealand law has allowed both same-sex parents of New Zealand-born children conceived through assisted human reproductive technology, AHR, procedure to be named on a child's birth record. And that change was retrospective, so that pre-2005, New Zealand birth registration records can be amended on application at any time to include both same-sex parents' details. Further, the law already contains rules for changing a birth record in other circumstances, including, but not limited to, situations where a paternity order is obtained, an individual changes her or his name by statutory declaration, and an individual undergoes gender reassignment. So this bill applies only to Rowan Sullivan's unique situation, which has itself arisen from a unique combination of circumstances, including her birth overseas following an AHR procedure, which meant that her birth was not registered in New Zealand. The key consideration is that since the 19th of August 2013, married same-sex couples can adopt jointly. If the Marriage Definition of Marriage Amendment Act had been in place before Diane Sullivan died, the train of events giving rise to this bill could have been avoided. So, in summary, this is a good bill, and it's very pleasing that it will be passed unanimously in this House. And I think it illustrates two things. Firstly, the importance that Parliament places on families, and also the empathy that parliamentarians have had for Rowan's situation. We all believe in happy families, and we want to see that reflected in our documentation. I commend this bill to the House.
I call Dennis O'Rourke.
Mr. Speaker,